Hello, my friends. Thank you for joining me. We're going to Revelation 3, verse 17. This is 5 minutes of faith. I'm talking about being dependent on God, hungry and thirsting for God, just like baby birds in a nest that are helpless on their own. They need the mama. They are completely dependent and hungry. Every time she comes in to feed them, their mouths are open, they're crying out for food, and only she can satisfy. And this is the way it is with us and God. We need to realize that there are all kinds of temptations in this world, that the allure, the temptation is that they will satisfy us. Things will satisfy us. People may satisfy us. Pleasures, whatever it may be. The truth is, those things will never satisfy. Maybe temporarily, but they're never meant to be your all in all. Only God is your all in all. And that's what it talks about here in Revelation 3:17. To the church of the Laodiceans write, because you say, I am rich and have become wealthy and have need of nothing. And do you not know that you are wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked? I counsel you to buy from me gold refined in the fire, that you may be rich, and white garments, that you may be clothed, that the shame of your nakedness may not be revealed, and anoint your eyes with eye salve, that you may see. There's a little bit of history you need to know about the city of Laodicea. It was a very wealthy Roman city because it had developed this eye salve. It was an ointment type medicine, and they were selling it to people. They were kind of the source of this salve. And also, they were able to bleach clothes white, and they were producing a lot of this white linen clothing. So it was a manufacturing center in that area that was producing these goods that were very popular and expensive, and it brought in a lot of money. And Jesus is saying, you're depending on that stuff. You're depending on that wealth. You're depending on the human sources instead of the God source. Come to me, he says, and buy from me gold refined in the fire. Because whenever they may see themselves as wealthy, and we have all this, we've got the medicine, we got the money, we got the clothes. God says, you're poor, blind, wretched, and naked. You have nothing. You're bankrupt without me, basically. When we trust in things, when we trust in people, when we look to be satisfied by those possessions, then we'll always find ourselves hungry for more and thirsty for more. Things cannot satisfy. Look in Deuteronomy 8, verse 11. It says, beware that you do not forget the Lord your God by not keeping his commandments, his judgments, and his statutes, which I command you today. Lest when you have eaten and are full, and have built beautiful houses and dwell in them, and when your herds and your flocks multiply, and your silver and your gold are multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied. Verse 14, when your heart is lifted up, and you forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. See, these items, these things, God is warning them, and us too. You put your trust in these things. You can be rich, you can have, acquired things, but when you stop having faith in God, when you stop trusting in God, you become lazy in your faith. You think, well, I don't really need to believe God. I can just take care of this myself. I don't have to stand in faith for my possessions, or I don't have to stand in faith for God to supply my need. I can just go out and buy what I want. I can take care of myself. See the problem in that? It's very self-centered. It's a very self-satisfying and self-sufficiency. Our sufficiency is of God. Let's go to Mark 4:18. Jesus talks about, these are the ones sown among thorns. They are the ones who hear the word, and the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the desires of other things entering in choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. The deceitfulness of riches is deadly. This is what will choke the word in our life. What is the deceitfulness of riches? The deceitfulness of riches is that everything you could ever want or need comes from riches. Here's another deceit, that if I just had a little bit more, then everything would be all right. Man, no matter how much money you think you have, you always think I could use a little more. And the cares of this world and the desire of other things. See, when you hunger for other things instead of God, that will choke the word in your life. It becomes unfruitful. You're no longer depending on God. You're depending on yourself. You're depending on your articles. I remember when my children were young, and of course they wanted toys. I remember it being that way myself. And I learned, hey, toys do not satisfy. I still need to learn that, even as an adult. You know, our adult toys. We think, I'll be happy if I had this. I'll be happy if I had that. So I had to tell my children, look, toys cannot make you happy. Things don't make you happy. Maybe temporarily, but as soon as that happiness wears off, you want something else. That is the deceitfulness of riches. That is the desire of other things. We've got to avoid it. Put our hunger, put our trust, put our desire, put our longing to God. Only He can satisfy. Amen. Hope you have been encouraged. This has been another 5 Minutes of Faith.